April 22nd readings, Justin Martyr. Dialogue with Trypho, chapter 67. Trypho challenges the virgin birth. Trypho said, "The scripture doesn't say, 'Behold, the virgin shall conceive,' but rather, 'Behold, the young woman shall conceive.' The whole prophecy refers to Hezekiah, and it's clear that it was fulfilled in him. And besides, even the Greek myths say Perseus was born of the virgin Danae, who was impregnated by Zeus in the form of a golden shower. So you should be ashamed of making similar claims. You should just say that Jesus was a man, born from human parents. If you can prove from Scripture that he is the Christ, and that he was chosen because he lived in obedience to the law and lived perfectly, that would be fine. But stop telling these wild stories. You'll only sound foolish, just like the Greeks." Justin affirms his resolve and the testimony of Scripture. I responded, "Trypho, even if you mock or ridicule me with worse things than these, I won't be shaken. I will always return to the very scriptures you think support your position and show how they actually support mine. But it's unfair and untruthful for you to deny what we've already agreed on, that some laws were given by Moses because of your people's hard hearts. Yet now you say Jesus only became the Christ because he kept the law. The role of the law in the new covenant," Trypho said, "but you admitted that he was circumcised and kept Moses' commandments." I replied, "Yes, I've admitted that, and I still do. But he didn't do it because he needed to be justified by the law. He fulfilled all of it as part of the mission his Father, the Creator and Lord of all, gave him to complete. I also affirm that he endured crucifixion, death, the incarnation, and all the suffering your people put him through. Were the patriarchs saved without the law? Let me ask you, Trypho, were the righteous patriarchs before Moses, who didn't follow those laws Moses gave, saved? Did they inherit the blessings?" Trypho answered, "The scriptures force me to admit that they did." "The purpose of the sacrifices," I asked. "Did God command your fathers to offer sacrifices because he needed them? Or was it because of their hardness of heart and their tendency toward idolatry?" He replied, "The scriptures again compel us to admit the latter. A new covenant without fear." I continued, "Did not the scriptures also foretell that God would bring a new covenant, different from the one given at Mount Horeb?" He acknowledged that this was true. And wasn't the old covenant given with fear, trembling, and terror, so much so that your fathers couldn't even listen to God? He admitted that too. "The covenant for all nations, so," I said, "God promised a new covenant, one without fear, trembling, or lightning. A covenant that would make clear which commandments are eternal and meant for all nations and which ones were temporary, given because of your people's hardness of heart. This is what God says through the prophets." Trypho responded, "Anyone who loves the truth and not argument for its own sake must agree." Then I replied, "If that's the case, I don't understand why you speak as someone fond of strife, since you often contradict the very things you already agreed to." M. Augustine of Hippo Confessions, Book 8, chapters 9 to 10, 21 to 24. "The mind commands itself, but is divided. Where does this strange condition come from, Lord? And why does it happen? Let your mercy shine on me as I search, if perhaps the darkest recesses of the human heart will offer some answer. Why is this so? The mind tells the body what to do, and the body obeys immediately. But the mind tells itself what to do, and it resists. It tells the hand to move, and before the words are even fully formed, the hand obeys. Yet when the mind tells itself to will something, it doesn't. It's still the same mind, yet it disobeys itself. Why is that? The mind doesn't give the command unless it already wills to, and yet it still doesn't follow through. So it must not will completely, only partially. The degree to which it wills is the degree to which the thing is done, and the degree to which it does not will is the degree to which it is not done. What the will commands is that there be a will, not a different will, but the very same one. But it doesn't fully command, because if it did, the will would already be there, and no command would be needed. So this divided will is not a monster, but a weakness of the mind, one not yet fully lifted up by truth, but weighed down by the inertia of old habits. So there are really two wills, but only because one is incomplete. The strong one begins to supply what the weaker one lacks. Refuting the Manichaeans. One mind, divided will let false teachers perish, Lord. those vain and deceitful talkers who see two wills and claim there must be two kinds of minds, one good, one evil. But it is they who are evil because they believe evil things. They'll become good when they embrace the truth and agree with what your apostle said. You were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Ephesians 5:8. But they don't want light in you. They want light in themselves. They think the soul is the same kind of being as you, God, and in their pride they fall into greater darkness. They've drifted even further from you, the true light who enlightens everyone coming into the world. John 1:9. Be careful what you say. Blush with shame and come near to him and be enlightened, so your face may not be ashamed. Psalm 34:5. When I was wrestling with the decision to finally serve you, my God, as I had long intended, it was I who willed and I who was unwilling. It was my own self. I didn't fully will, but I wasn't fully unwilling either. So I was at war with myself and being torn apart. And this tearing came against my will, yet it didn't mean I had two minds. It meant I was being punished by one divided soul. As Scripture says, now it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me. Romans 7:17, a result of that original sin, for I am a son of Adam, not two natures, but one conflicted soul. If each inner conflict meant two different natures, we wouldn't just have two, we'd have many. If someone debates whether to go to a Manichaean meeting or the theater, they'll say, see, two natures, one good, one bad. But I say both options are bad, the theater and the heretical gathering. Now imagine someone hesitating between going to the theater or to the church. What would the Manichaeans say? Would they admit that the will pulling toward church is good? If so, they contradict themselves. If not, they must say that two evil natures are battling inside one person, which also contradicts them. They'll be forced either to admit error or to accept the truth, that there's one soul with competing desires. Many wills, one substance. So let them stop claiming that internal struggle proves two opposing minds from two opposing substances. You, O God, expose their error. For what if someone is debating between multiple sinful acts, poison or sword to kill a man, one stolen property or another, pleasure through wastefulness or money hoarding, the circus or the theater? Or what if someone has several sins available, robbery, adultery, fraud, and wants to do them all but can't? Does that mean multiple evil minds or substances? No, it just means one soul pulled in too many sinful directions at once. And the same is true with good desires. Isn't it good to enjoy reading the Apostle, or a psalm, or a discussion of the gospel? Suppose someone loves all three equally and has to choose. Doesn't the soul feel torn even though each option is good? Yes, but it's still one soul choosing among good things. So too when eternal things pull us upward, but our habits pull us down. Our soul is torn not because it is two, but because it is wounded, suspended between truth and habit. Thomas Aquinas, Summa Theologica, Part 1, Question 59. Article 3. Whether there is free will in the angels? Objection. It seems that angels do not have free will, for wherever there is perfect knowledge, there is no need for deliberation or choice, and angels having perfect intellect should not need to choose. Therefore, they have no free will. Responsio. I answer that free will is found in the angels. Free will, properly speaking, is the ability to choose between different courses of action based on reason. It does not mean the ability to choose without cause, but the ability to choose rationally between alternatives. Now, intellect and will are both powers of a rational nature. The will follows the intellect. Whatever the intellect perceives as good, the will desires. But because things can be good in different ways, some good in truth, others only in appearance, the will can be drawn in more than one direction. This is where free choice arises, from the will responding to various perceived goods. Angels, like humans, have both intellect and will, but their intellect is higher and more perfect than ours. They grasp truths instantly, not by reasoning step by step. Nevertheless, they still have a will that follows their intellect, and therefore they have free will. Their decisions are not the result of ignorance or uncertainty, but of deliberate, rational choice based on what they know. So, while their knowledge removes some kinds of deliberation, like the hesitation we experience because of ignorance, it does not eliminate their freedom. Angels still choose freely, even though they do so more perfectly and quickly than we do. A quick summa. Angels have free will because their intellect and will act together, enabling them to make rational and deliberate choices without being compelled.